What do you guys have on Ketel Marte? So he addressed the media yesterday and said, he's trying to play hard, and there was criticism written about him on missing time both this year and last year. There's a local radio host who was sticking by his story and hearing it from really some members of the team and fans. Local reporter Dan Bickley of Arizona Sports, and then Nick Picoro also wrote about it in the Arizona Republic. Bickley was the one last year. He said he missed a big game in the final week of their season last year. Remember, they finished with 89 wins. They were, essentially a game short of making the playoffs. And then this year, Nick Picoro, who's been a good writer out there for a long time, reported on how there was grumbling among players and staff. I use that word in quotes. That's what he had in his story about Ketel often wanting time off, and that his home was robbed or burglarized after or during the All-Star break. He was at the All-Star game, and then instead of going home to where the crime occurred, he went home to the Dominican Republic. So that seemed to piss some people off. Perdomo yesterday, who was very vocal, backed him up and kind of made it a media versus him thing. And the media is like, yo, we're just reporting. You want us to not do anything? And then Ketel addressed the media yesterday. What do you got on this?
Well, it's good you said something. I don't know. Listen, you can never get in somebody's head, so you really don't know. Everyone has different pain tolerances. Everybody has different programs. So everybody has different mental situations that they're in, physical and mental. So I don't know. It's just a weird, I don't know why he went to Dominican when his house in the Phoenix area was burglarized. Wouldn't you think you'd want to go to Phoenix to check it out, to see what was taken and get your life back together? But I don't know. It's hard to criticize. So here's the thing. It's hard for me to criticize somebody that I don't know the whole story and I don't know what's going on. So, yeah, he did it. Players, yes, Kratz, you know this. Guys take days off. There's rumblings in clubhouses. Yes, it happens all the time. This guy, he's soft. He doesn't want to play. Da-da-da-da-da. You know how it is. It's just what people say because everyone else is out there busting their asses to play and get on the field. And then if you have somebody that doesn't do it all the time, yes, guys rumble. That's the life of an athlete.
All right, first of all, him not going to his house that got burglarized, my hope is that maybe he was taking his family from his Arizona house to the Dominican. They were shook up. I'm being positive. We don't know. We don't know what it is. But what AJ hit on is exactly right. Not everybody views being out there every day as a thing. AJ talks about playing, all the time, wanting to be out there all the time. You look at his stats. He played 135 plus games for 100 years. He didn't play 100% every day. You play through things that hurt. So people's pain tolerances aren't as high. But also, I think some players, and I'm not saying this about Ketel Marte, I'm saying other players understand what it takes for them to be at their best. And they don't want to be out there if it's not at their best. I'm not saying that they're like, oh, I'm doing this for the team. I'm not out there. No, it's just a different mentality. Not everybody has the same mentality. I look at a guy like Chase Utley. Chase Utley probably shortened his career because of playing through injuries. AJ, I'm sure, can think of plenty of guys that played through injuries that maybe their numbers went down a certain year. Maybe certain things happened. But I know Chase Utley played through different things that he probably should have sat out for, but he was like, no, I'm not sitting out for that. He ended up being able to make his career longer, but you play through certain things. Sometimes it hurts you in that season, and it can also hurt you later on. So you never know what someone's going through when they want to sit out.
I think fans felt feathers ruffled when they read this story from Nick Picoro in the Arizona Central. The headline is "Trade Ketel Marte?" ? Teammates grumbling about Arizona Diamondbacks puzzling star. That's harsh. He is either their best or second best player. If you really like Corbin Carroll for the future, okay, he's one of their best players ever.
Though, if they can trade him and get a lot of stuff, everybody's available at some point, okay. But the thing is we don't know how bad it is because we've only heard rumblings. We haven't heard another player come out and say this or that.
Anonymous. They talk to these guys anonymous. That's why Nick said, when you ask a player about Ketel, they're like, oh, he's the best when he wants to be. There's a lot of that, right? Where they're pushing for him to do more.
Yeah.
Corbin Carroll kind of makes him look bad. I mean, he was playing through like a broken bone or something for a chunk of the season, and he's like, I owe it to my teammates. Again, like you said, different pain tolerance, but the two
and
incidents,
different mental tolerances too. That's the other thing.
Yeah.
Everyone looks at, like Krat said, everyone looks at things differently, and they say, I can play or I can't play, or I want to play or I don't play. You can never. It's hard really to question that. It's just hard to question that because you just don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's easy to look at anybody and say, why isn't he playing? He's soft, and then he comes back and they have a broken arm or something, right? You're like, geez. You just never know. That's why this is a weird situation that I'm glad Ketel said something, but I'd like, Torey Lovello, I think he spoke on it. Perdomo spoke on it. The rest of his teammates, where are they? They should all get a chance to say something.
FT fam, when you're playing in games, you kind of have some stress, anxiety. Teammates need something to help. Now it's at your fingertips with Rula.
That's right. Telehealth has been a huge help for millions of people, but it can be time-consuming and expensive to find the right therapist. Rula is on a mission to make this process smoother. And make sure you go to rula.com/Val for more details. They take most major insurance plans, and the average copay is only about $15 per session. Every provider on Rula is carefully vetted and chosen for their expertise. Thousands have already trusted Rula to support them on their journey toward improved mental health and overall well-being. Head on over to rula.com/Val to get started today. After you sign up, they ask you where you heard about them. Please say that FT sent you there to support the show, but also worry about yourself here at rula.com, rula.com/FOUL, and take the first step towards better mental health today. You deserve quality care from someone who cares. Let's not act like this is media versus the players, though. That, to me, Kratz, that's where it gets taken too far. Like, the media's got to get off his back. Okay, well, they're not writing this out of the blue. I mean, he's getting players and staffers telling him something, and he's going to report on it. That's literally his job. And if you're a real fan of a team, you want to know what's going on with the team. Isn't that how this works? It's also part of the entertainment business. But even just from a reporting business, you're reporting on what's going on with the team. A player missed a big game at the end of last year, and clearly some teammates didn't like it. They might be wrong. It might be like, hey, you don't know his pain tolerance. And then the same thing this year where there were multiple spots where the team felt like he should have been there. The thing that clearly rubbed some players the wrong way, Kratz, this time around is we're post-trade deadline. There was an incident. He's not at the scene of the crime. Like you said, there could be a very good reason. But the Diamondbacks ended up being sellers, and a lot of people had their lives changed. So it all dominoes, and guess what? The team isn't playing the way it should this year, and people are going to start grumbling.
You have issues. You have issues throughout seasons. That's why I love August. August is when, like, the true July, they talk about dog days. No, it's really just people, like, are sick of having a filter. And when you're losing, your filter really goes out the window. The really good teams, the teams that are winning, they have no filter in April. And so the dudes get closer because you don't have this, like, faction of people that say on the team, they're like, shocker, Ketel Marte is not playing. You could ask tons of bench coaches that have had different players. I'm not going to name names, but everybody knows who they are. That, you know what? Came in, can't go today. You know, you got Chris Sale-itis. Somebody's got, I don't know. It's a day game after a night game. I just don't know if I'm going to be able to go. And you have to deal with that. You have to deal with that because if this is what's happening with Ketel Marte, he's an MVP candidate every year. It doesn't really matter what he does. He's got to get out there and he's got to play. And when he's available, you throw him in the lineup. When he's not, someone else has to step up.
By the way, for anyone unaware, Chris Sale-itis means you don't want to face Chris Sale, not anything with Chris Sale not pitching. Just for clarification, it's like, oh, super tough lefty. I'm a lefty. I'm going to sit. But hey, the numbers speak for themselves. Ketel Marte is a superstar player.
Yes,
probably top 10 hitter in my book.
Yeah.
Mm.
I mean, he led the team to a World Series appearance 2 years ago. So I think saying, oh, do we have to trade him? That's a little harsh. Can teammates be pissed about a certain situation?
Yes.
Sure.
And they should be. Yeah. I feel like. That's one thing I think that people should understand. Like, yeah, because there's guys that are going through stuff trying to play. And when they see other guys, if they don't think they're given at all. People say stuff to people. I mean, it's been said a lot in clubhouses. What's up? Why can't you play? And I've seen a lot of arguments, and I don't want to say fights, but there's been some arguments between guys about whether they could play or not.
Better to talk it out.
It makes a player better too, because sometimes if you're called out and it's not true, like then guys are like, oh, well, I didn't see it like that. I saw a dude get called out for not running after a ball that landed on the warning track. Center fielder got called out. Like, oh, I guess you're not trying. Guess you're not trying today. Next play, next time a ball got hit to him in right center, he freaking smashed into the fence, knocked himself out. And the pitcher was like, dude, I didn't realize that you played that hard. But it was like one of those things, like you call dudes out, and sometimes you have fights. That's okay. Calling them out in the media, I don't know, man. Like, it's not like everybody thinks Corbin Carroll said these things. It could have been some reliever that this radio guy was talking to, or that a reporter was talking to, and they were pissed about it because they kept talking about it in the bullpen all day.
Yeah, the part for me is I think this is like healthy, right? You talk this stuff out. The part where I draw my line is let's not act like the media communicating stuff from players is their fault.
No, it's not at all.
Don't do
this
us against media thing, if you're a player. Like, I'd love to talk to Perdomo more about it because he's like, the media has to stop or whatever he said. I'm like, the media has to stop? Your teammates have to stop. Your teammates are telling stuff to the media, clearly. And it's not even one media member. It's multiple media members. So, I don't know. Good story. I'm not really like taking a side here because we all aren't, right? We don't know enough about it.
We don't know enough about it.
Yeah, but I'm just taking a side on if you have a problem, your teammates are talking to the media. Why don't you have a team meeting about it or take them out to dinner? No? Be like, hey, dude, need you to show up here. You've missed big moments for us.
I've had dinners with guys before. I've had to have dinners with guys before.
Yep.
Hey, or breakfast or lunch or whatever it is. Hey, we need to figure something out, and that's how you handle it.